see you.
Avatar: Fire and Ash is now streaming on Disney+. It's the film critics are calling the best Avatar yet.
Yeah! Go, 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 go!
A true epic and completely jaw-dropping.
This is the only pure thing in this world.
Return to Pandora on Disney+.
It will be an adventure for the whole family.
And watch the Oscar-winning phenomenon at home.
This is sick!
Avatar: Fire and Ash, now streaming on Disney+. Rated PG-13.
Voices for Justice is a podcast that uses adult language and discusses sensitive and potentially triggering topics, including violence, abuse, and murder. This podcast may not be appropriate for younger audiences. All parties are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Some names have been changed or omitted per their request or for safety purposes. Listener discretion is advised. My name is Sarah Turney, and this is Voices for Justice. Today I'm introducing a new series called Still Seeking Justice. Over the years, Voices for Justice has shared the stories of many families searching for answers. But those cases didn't stop moving when an episode ended. Families continued making calls, following leads, pushing for accountability, and finding new ways to keep their loved ones' names in the public eye. Still Seeking Justice is my commitment to return to those families. In these episodes, I'll connect with people previously featured on the show to learn what's changed, what still needs attention, and most importantly, exactly how we can help now. For the first installment, we're returning to the case of Danielle Bell. If you haven't listened to that episode, I definitely recommend going back and listening to that first. But as a brief overview, Danielle was just 14 years old when she disappeared from Cantonment, Florida in September of 2001. She was last known to have attended a party, but nearly 2 days passed before she was reported missing. Authorities initially classified Danielle as a runaway, a label her sister Bonnie believes cost the investigation critical time and resources. Nearly 25 years later, Danielle has never been found, and no one has been held accountable for her disappearance. When I first shared Danielle's story in November of 2024, Bonnie had already been told that her sister's case was not being actively investigated. But since then, a tremendous amount has changed. Danielle's family is now working with private investigators. Media coverage has generated dozens of tips, and Bonnie was able to give those investigators a spreadsheet containing 40 separate leads. In less than 8 months, they followed up on every single one of them, developed additional information, and began working toward several new searches. One search has already been conducted, and Bonnie's now waiting for searches of 2 additional locations. Danielle's case has also received renewed public attention, and law enforcement now describes the investigation as active. But of course, significant questions still remain, along with promises Bonnie says have not been fulfilled. Bonnie's also looking beyond her sister's case and asking what we need to change to prevent another missing child from being failed in the same ways. She's developing an initiative she's currently calling Danielle's Law. It would push for missing children to be treated as an immediate priority, eliminate the runaway label, require guardians to report a child missing within a reasonable amount of time, establish consistent questions and documentation practices, and ensure that officers receive trauma-informed training. This conversation is about the progress that can happen when families and communities refuse to stop applying pressure. It's also about the enormous personal cost of advocacy, the failures that still need to be addressed, and of course, Bonnie's determination to create a legacy for her sister who once dreamed of going into law herself. But without further introduction, here is my conversation with Danielle Bell's sister, Bonnie. So, Bonnie, welcome back. I know the last time we recorded was like the end of 2024. And for somebody who hasn't heard that episode and hasn't followed like every single development since, what do you think is the biggest thing that's changed in Danielle's case?
Well, we now have a private investigator through PI for the Missing, who I was connected with through Advocacy Con, and additionally, there has been a search conducted off of Rocky Branch Road in Cantonment, Florida, for Danielle, and nothing was found. We are currently waiting for them to do 2 more searches on 2 new locations. We got a lot of leads through the coverage that we got back in 2024, 2025. We did a News Nation episode, and Nancy Grace picked it up in December of 2025. Of course, you. And then I did a bunch of other smaller podcast interviews. So those brought in a lot of leads. And when the private investigators got the case, I was able to give them a spreadsheet of 40 different leads that we had collected through social media, and they have had the case so not even 8 full months, and they have chased every single one of those leads down, brought in new leads, and are working to move forward on some of the bigger parts of this. So that would be working with the sheriff's department to question the main people of interest. Robert Bassett is back in prison until the end of October. He's in a Holmes work camp in Florida for violating his probation, where he contacted the child of one of his assault victims, which was breaking the protection order. So he'll be back out. So I hope that they are able to get and question him before he gets out.
Yeah, I mean, that would be amazing. And it seems like so much has changed since we first talked about Danielle's case. I remember when we did that episode, you'd recently been told that her case wasn't even being actively investigated. And then I saw in February of 2025 that Detective Hall publicly described the case as active and said that the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children was looking into it. Do you know what changed? Was that real?
Okay, so Detective Hall did say that, and he also referred to 13 binders of information in the Danielle Bell case. He has become active after receiving an enormous amount of community pressure and pressure from national coverage, and my dad calling him every week and giving him leads. So that's where that sits.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that media pressure moves mountains, and I think that this is another great example of that. Now, did anything come of the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children reviewing the case at all? Like, did that go anywhere?
To my knowledge, they have not reviewed it. I went to CrimeCon when it was in Denver, and I met with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and they had discovered that Danielle's age progressed picture hasn't been updated, and promised me that they would get that taken care of, as well as have an advocate reach out to me. And after I contacted them as a follow-up, and some other advocates have contacted them for a follow-up, we haven't received any response.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's really disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's important to talk about, and I think that we can have these conversations and still recognize the great work that they do and the great work that still needs to be done to ensure that people like you, people like Danielle, don't slip through the cracks.
Agreed. I mean, and that's why, I'm still trying to find ways to advocate for her, which is, Danielle's Law, which I'm thinking about renaming. I don't know, since there was another one called Danielle's Law. I don't know. Anyways, but I'm trying to just take a holistic approach right now and changing the way that missing children cases are handled, specifically with response time, questioning, and documentation, and trauma-informed care skills for police officers and detectives when they're conducting interviews. Those are some of the things that are important and that I think would have made a big difference in Danielle's case. Additionally, holding a guardian accountable if they don't immediately report a child missing, like my mother waiting 48 hours. So at this point, we are still hoping that they do follow through with conducting those other searches. But it's a different ballgame for me right now, because instead of collecting all of those leads, which was extremely overwhelming and took its toll for sure, Um, you know, trying to make sure that people have an understanding of what prevention looks like, what aftercare looks like, what advocacy looks like. And quite frankly, I want to leave a legacy for my sister. I don't want her name to be forgotten. And so that's where my focus is. And I don't know where that's going to take me completely, but Danielle's Law right now is the number one priority.
This episode of Voices for Justice is sponsored by Brick House Nutrition. I think a lot of people out there are trying to lose weight, but also not looking for anything complicated. That's why doctors created a weight loss supplement called Lean, and the results are pretty remarkable. The studied ingredients in Lean have been shown to lower your blood sugar, burn fat by converting it into energy, and curb your appetite and cravings so you're not as hungry. But it's really important to note here that Lean is not for the casual dieter with only a few pounds to lose. The doctors at Brick House Nutrition created Lean for frustrated dieters with 10 or more pounds to lose. Right now, they're offering 20% off and free rush shipping so you can add Lean to your healthy diet and exercise plan. Visit takelean.com and enter VFJ as your discount. That's promo code VFJ at takelean.com. This episode of Voices for Justice is sponsored by SmileSet. Is there something in your smile that you just keep thinking about fixing? Or maybe you're like me. I had braces when I was younger, wasn't great at wearing my retainer, and my teeth have shifted. That's why I was so excited to try a SmileSet. SmileSet can straighten your teeth for under $1,800. That's less than half the cost of traditional braces. And it's all done at home. Basically, it starts with an at-home impression kit. Then a licensed doctor reviews your case and builds your custom treatment plan, with your aligners shipped straight to you. And they monitor your progress remotely via the SmileSet app. They also have doctor check-ins available whenever you want. And they do offer nighttime-only aligners, so you can straighten your teeth while you sleep. I just did the at-home impression kit and sent it in. I am so excited to try this and get my teeth back to where they used to be. Over 2 million smiles have been fixed with this technology, and they do have a 30-day money-back guarantee, as well as monthly payments starting at just $89. Listeners of our show get an additional 35% discount when they go to smileset.com/justice. With this discount, you can get the smile of your dreams for under $1,300. Go to smileset.com/justice to get started. Smileset.com/justice. Yeah, I mean, let's talk about it. I want to get into like the nitty gritty, right? So let's start from the beginning. What inspired you to create this petition to want to move forward with Danielle's Law, and what is it?
Well, when I started thinking about what I wanted to do next or work on next, like I said, it was a holistic approach. Like I'm one of those people, I want to just go right straight to the source. Just like I'm like, why are we doing all of this other crazy stuff in my sister's case and not going straight to the 3 people that we know something?
Right.
So that's just my take. So for this, after seeing countless cases and thinking through how my sister's case was handled, and I have this in the change.org petition, but the key failures were the police ignoring reports of her relationship, in quotations, relationship, which was actually sexual assault against, he was 24, she was 14. And that was never acted upon. Nobody questioned it at first, and it prolonged response, basically. No immediate search of the party location or the suspects' homes. I'm fully convinced that if they had followed my mom and called at least by 6 a.m. Saturday morning, which is a generous amount of time.
Right.
Maybe they would have been able to go to Robert Bassett's house. Maybe they would have been able to track it quickly enough. You know, it's just stuff like that it makes me so. Maybe it's a little bit of rage that makes me want to do this stuff. But, you know, it's just all of these things and the misclassification as a runaway. Why are we even using the term runaway? They classified my sister as a runaway. Now we know foul play was suspected.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing that drives me absolutely bonkers is when you see agencies posting missing persons posters and they have the label habitual runaway. Habitual. And I'm like, okay, well, if they are a habitual runaway, why are we not looking into the home?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Why are we not using these best practices to protect the most vulnerable in our society? And that's where it just,
I know.
so that's really where the passion comes from.
Yeah, and why are we pretending that, kids labeled as a runaway are still not missing children when they are?
Right, right. It's very frustrating. And so, a lot of these, crossover from Danielle's case to so many other cases. And I've talked to other family members, and after you see the same things over and over again, the same themes, and a lot of cases, unsolved homicides, missing persons, missing children, etc. It becomes really frustrating, and sitting back and not doing anything is just a non-negotiable for me. So I'm really hoping to make a change with this. I have absolutely no idea how. I'm just collecting signatures now. So
That's okay. I mean, that's where it starts, right? I mean, we all have to start somewhere, and I think it's fantastic. I want to give the listeners a really good idea of what this means. So let's say that Danielle's law is enacted tomorrow and a 14-year-old disappears in Florida. What's going to be different under Danielle's law?
a really, really great question. So for me, that the parent must report the child missing within a reasonable amount of time. And that's where it gets sticky if you compare it to something like in my mother's case. She waited and Danielle went missing on Friday night. She waited till Sunday. That's punishable by law. I mean, there has to be a reasonable amount of time. That is neglectful. It's neglectful, yet where are we holding people accountable? Where was my mom held accountable in that? We find out the reason behind it was this was not an uncommon thing. It was not uncommon for her to not know where my sister was for an entire weekend. So that changes. The elimination of the runaway label, again, a missing child is a missing child, no exceptions, because that label delays the resources that are needed. So an immediate response for a missing child, that is put on top priority, just like a murder. It's not, we're not waiting 2 hours to respond to this. We're responding immediately, and we are asking the correct questions. And those correct questions are, the ones that they probably are already asking in most cases, not always, but trying to dive in and find out who is the child around most of the time. If ask specific questions, are there any grown men or suspicious or people that you would say are unordinary friends of hers? Like you would think a 14-year-old girl would have nothing but other 14-year-old girl friends, right?
Ideally, not grown men who are abusing them. Yeah.
Documented and then questioned. And that time is of the essence. So we know this? Our agencies are even telling us this, but we're not acting accordingly. What gives?
No, I mean, obviously, I totally agree. You know this. I mean, I think it's a great initiative, right? We want to eliminate that runaway label. We want to make sure that there are penalties in place for parents who don't report. And I know that you wanted to ensure that there was a consistent list of questions to ask to ensure that there's a proper investigation from the start. All of those, I think, it's just common sense. And I think that there are things that the general public sometimes believe is already happening when it's not. Like, I don't think so many people understand that when a child is reported as a runaway, oftentimes almost nothing is done. Like, they literally just sit and wait for them to come back. And then if something pops up, it becomes an investigation, which I think is insane.
Right. It is insane. And That's why I'm saying time is of the essence, and these questions have to be documented somewhere. And to think that you take a report, you put up a flyer, that's all that you do? Because that's what most of them are doing. That's what they're doing. I hate to say it like that, but that is, unless they have someone come to them, they're very rarely going out and seeking the answers. They're waiting for the answers to come back to them.
This episode of Voices for Justice is sponsored by Chewy. If you're a pet parent and you haven't tried Chewy, what have you been waiting for? Chewy really does have everything you need to keep your pet happy and healthy. To keep them happy, Chewy has over 100,000 products from all the brands that my pets love at prices I love. To keep them healthy, Chewy offers pet prescriptions, pet insurance, telehealth vet visits, and is even rolling out vet clinics across the country. I recently had to leave Popcorn and Heber for a week to attend a wedding, so I made sure to go to Chewy to stock up on all of their favorites, and a few toys to keep them happy while I was gone. They make it so easy. You can order now and get it to your door within just a few days, or add it to your next auto ship. I will tell you that the auto ship feature is a total lifesaver. No more running out of food, and it makes sure that I have at least one new toy for the dogs every month. For life with pets, there's Chewy. And right now you can save $20 on your first order and get free shipping by going to chewpanions.chewy.com/Sarah E. Turney. That's chewpanions.chewy.com/Sarah E. Turney to save $20 on your first order with free shipping. chewpanions.chewy.com/Sarah E. Turney. Minimum purchase required. New customers only. Terms and conditions apply. See site for complete details. This episode of Voices for Justice is sponsored by Smile Set. Is there something in your smile that you just keep thinking about fixing? Or maybe you're like me. I had braces when I was younger, wasn't great at wearing my retainer, and my teeth have shifted. That's why I was so excited to try a Smile Set. Smile Set can straighten your teeth for under $1,800. That's less than half the cost of traditional braces, and it's all done at home. Basically, it starts with an at-home impression kit. Then a licensed doctor reviews your case and builds your custom treatment plan, with your aligners shipped straight to you. And they monitor your progress remotely via the SmileSet app. They also have doctor check-ins available whenever you want. And they do offer nighttime-only aligners, so you can straighten your teeth while you sleep. I just did the at-home impression kit and sent it in. I am so excited to try this and get my teeth back to where they used to be. Over 2 million smiles have been fixed with this technology, and they do have a 30-day money-back guarantee, as well as monthly payments starting at just $89. Listeners of our show get an additional 35% discount when they go to smileset.com/justice. With this discount, you can get the smile of your dreams for under $1,300. Go to smileset.com/justice to get started. Smileset.com/justice. Oh yeah, 1,000%. They're just like waiting for it to fall in their laps, which drives me insane. Have you talked to Danielle's detectives about this?
So the last time I talked to the detectives was 2024, and they made me several promises that didn't follow through. My dad joined me in my fight. He calls them every week now because they don't want to talk to me. So I'm a pain in the ass to them. So they don't want to talk to me, and they very rarely respond to him appropriately.
Ugh.
But I get my vigilance from somewhere. So
let's be real. This is the one time, I think, well, not the one time, but I think it's a very appropriate scenario where you can be very forward and very, not aggressive. Aggressive is not the right word. I think just insistent about ensuring that your missing daughter is the top priority. I don't think that's a crazy thing to do.
No, neither do I. I mean, and of course we feel like we shouldn't have to go through those efforts, and we have our moments. He and I, get a report from the private investigator every Friday. They deliver mine by email and they call him. And then he and I usually talk afterwards, and we vent out our frustrations. And Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have that camaraderie with him and feel like we have other people on our team, the private investigators, Gary and Tamala Martin. So if you do have information in the Danielle Bill case, you will want to contact them at 850-758-0004. They're fantastic. But, it's just a matter of applying common sense, like you said, on a lot of
Yeah.
these things. So,
Well, and I feel like the public may not know that in these long term cases, like you and I are experiencing, right, with our sisters, you can go years without hearing from detectives. If you aren't on top of it, they'll just forget about it or, just not communicate with you in some instances. So I see nothing wrong with reaching out, weekly and saying, what's the latest? It's their job.
yeah, I mean, and, we do have to do that. And sometimes, it's exhausting and we just push through in hopes that it makes a difference. We're thankful that one search was done. But we're not backing down. We're not backing off. He's still calling. I'm still going to post on social media. We're still going to go on national news. We're still going to keep pushing for answers. And that's just the way it's going to be.
Yeah. No, I love it. Well, and I know that you've said that Danielle, thought about going into law. So I feel like this is kind of perfect, in a way. Well, really, directly, her legacy is going to help children. And I think that that's incredible.
Right. And that's, where I'm moving towards is like, how can I do that for her? And I'm so glad to have the space to do that now. And not taking in all of those leads anymore because that, like I said earlier, was taxing. And so I would love to see Escambia County Sheriff's Office actually take a look at this petition and see what of these practices they could implement without a law being implemented, being a leader of change.
Yeah. They have the greatest opportunity to do that, right? And I've seen it. It's not unheard of. I've spoken to law enforcement who are totally on board with this and just as frustrated with this runaway label and the processes they have to adhere to as the families are. So I think that it's not like it used to be where it felt like all of law enforcement was against families at one point. You know what I mean? I think some of these officers and people in positions of power are coming around, thank goodness.
Yeah, I can see change starting to happen in a lot of places, and it gives me hope. Um, and I hope in my lifetime that we see it happen in every state, every city, every county where these cases are handled appropriately, and that we're putting children at the forefront of when we think about protection and care and justice, and those that, can't do it for themselves. I mean, we see that in minorities, such as the MMIW movement, missing and murdered Indigenous women, and how hard they've had to work to make change too. And it's just, when you start looking at these populations of the most vulnerable, it's concerning. It's concerning.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we know that, there's a certain demographic, especially a certain income level too, where you just get more resources in these cases. And it's so frustrating because it feels like, why do we have police departments if they're not going to protect and try to solve cases regarding children, no matter their economic status or skin color?
Yeah, 100%. And that's why I think we have to have something that tells them that they have to do it like that, because I don't think it will happen otherwise. And, we need to be sure that the resources are being used appropriately too, that we are putting resources into missing children specifically.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. This episode of Voices for Justice is sponsored by Chewy. If you're a pet parent and you haven't tried Chewy, what have you been waiting for? Chewy really does have everything you need to keep your pet happy and healthy. To keep them happy, Chewy has over 100,000 products from all the brands that my pets love at prices I love. To keep them healthy, Chewy offers pet prescriptions, pet insurance, telehealth vet visits, and is even rolling out vet clinics across the country. I recently had to leave Popcorn and Heber for a week to attend a wedding, so I made sure to go to Chewy to stock up on all of their favorites, and a few toys to keep them happy while I was gone. They make it so easy. You can order now and get it to your door within just a few days, or add it to your next auto ship. I will tell you that the auto ship feature is a total lifesaver. No more running out of food, and it makes sure that I have at least one new toy for the dogs every month. For life with pets, there's Chewy. And right now you can save $20 on your first order and get free shipping by going to chewpanions.chewy.com/Sarah E. Turney. That's chewpanions.chewy.com/Sarah E. Turney to save $20 on your first order with free shipping. chewpanions.chewy.com/Sarah E. Turney. Minimum purchase required. New customers only. Terms and conditions apply. See site for complete details. This episode of Voices for Justice is sponsored by SmileSet. Is there something in your smile that you just keep thinking about fixing? Or maybe you're like me. I had braces when I was younger, wasn't great at wearing my retainer, and my teeth have shifted. That's why I was so excited to try a SmileSet. SmileSet can straighten your teeth for under $1,800. That's less than half the cost of traditional braces, and it's all done at home. Basically, it starts with an at-home impression kit. Then a licensed doctor reviews your case and builds your custom treatment plan, with your aligners shipped straight to you. And they monitor your progress remotely via the SmileSet app. They also have doctor check-ins available whenever you want. And they do offer nighttime-only aligners, so you can straighten your teeth while you sleep. I just did the at-home impression kit and sent it in. I am so excited to try this and get my teeth back to where they used to be. Over 2 million smiles have been fixed with this technology, and they do have a 30-day money-back guarantee, as well as monthly payments starting at just $89. Listeners of our show get an additional 35% discount when they go to smileset.com/justice. With this discount, you can get the smile of your dreams for under $1,300. Go to smileset.com/justice to get started. Smileset.com/justice. Well, and I think it's amazing to see your journey too. I know when we first connected many years ago, you were just starting out on TikTok. You were trying to figure out how to do it. You've since completely blown up on social media, which is amazing. And now you're speaking at an upcoming event. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I'm going to be speaking at Advocacy Con in September, which is in Albuquerque, talking about using social media to advocate for your loved one. And it's so funny that I say that in front of you, because, as I said when we first started, I'm not saying I do it the best, but what I can tell you is that I want everybody to feel empowered enough to advocate for their case in a way that makes sense for them. And my biggest message is going to be, knowing what it is that you want and micro stories. And so there's a multiple pieces to that, but I'm very excited. I'm very excited to share what I've learned and look at how other people do things. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yay! No, that's amazing. You're going to do a great job. And just for anybody who may not know, can you just give us a short description of what Advocacy Con is?
So Advocacy Con is a conference for missing families of the missing and unsolved murders. And so what it is it's nonprofits, law enforcement representation, super smart people with PhDs, families, victims, survivors all come together, and it's a day and a half of information on a variety of topics. This is their second conference. Last year, they had everything you could imagine, from making a FOIA request to crying with dogs, therapeutic yoga.
I love it.
Yeah, Beth Holloway's was there. So yeah, it's a bunch of different topics surrounding how to advocate for your case.
I love that. And you're so amazing. Anybody listening, if you're going to be at Advocacy Con, make sure you go to Bonnie's panel and give her all the love and all the support.
I also appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. But to circle back to everything, right? It feels like right now you're fighting two different fights. One is just, still seeking justice for Danielle. And I think a part of that is Danielle's law. So anybody listening right now, outside of attending your panel at Advocacy Con, how can they help you with those two goals, getting justice for Danielle and this petition?
Well, you can sign my petition and we can collect a lot of signatures. That's the number one goal that I'm trying to work towards right now. And you can follow Danielle's case on social media, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube are Missing Child Danielle Bell. And then on Instagram, it's Danielle Bell's sister. I am mainly active on TikTok and Facebook these days. My YouTube channel is terrible.
Well, everybody starts out terrible. Don't worry about it.
Oh, the audio on that was awful. So audio is not something I still haven't figured that out. So.
Oh, please. My first season is like the worst audio that ever existed. I think we all start in that place. And I actually think, there's something so warm and organic about it not being perfect. And I think people really see that and they like it because they see themselves versus this over the top, very polished production that I think we're seeing in podcasting. I mean, I know for me, I like seeing like a homier setup, if you will. Like I like seeing real people. I don't want to think that they're like models and everything is done by a 20-person crew or whatever.
Right. And well, it's not realistic. That's the whole point, with the social media advocacy discussion is that I want everyone to feel empowered to do it. I mean, I just pick up my phone sometimes and I have something to say. I say it, post it, and move on, and then other times I've scripted. So, there are strategies you can follow if you want to put the time into it. But, there's a spectrum of what you can do, but it's very powerful in my opinion. Not only to get connected, but to push out the case, collaborations, which lead to helping you understand what resources are available. It's networking is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, it's just amazing. I feel like Danielle's case has come so far and in large part because of you. I mean, my goodness, you've been really spearheading this. And now with your dad, I'm so glad that you have that help. But I hope you know how amazing you've done.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. I'm going to just keep going with it until I decide to, I don't know, take a vacation.
Retire. What's a vacation? No, I mean, it's hard because I get it. You want to keep going. And I feel like you, especially when something goes viral or you feel like something's working, you just like grab onto that momentum and you want to keep going. But I have to encourage you to have a healthy balance, which I know is like impossible. And I defy that rule all the time, unfortunately.
Yeah. And part of what I also want to talk about in my speech is that there are different ways to do it, and you do have to give yourself grace because you're totally right. I mean, it's easy to grab onto it, especially when you are trying to make a big difference and you're screaming into the void for someone to listen to you. So it can be very difficult.
Yeah. Well, for what it's worth, I think you're doing a great job. I hope that when you're in New Mexico, you can like get a spa treatment or, have a lunch or some private, beautiful moment for yourself to recognize how much hard work you've done.
I will do that. I can incorporate that in for sure. And I'm looking forward to seeing everyone and meeting new people.
Yeah. So everybody who's listening or watching, if you go to AdvocacyCon, please say hi to Bonnie. She is very, very nice and sweet. And, I think it's safe to say that you are willing to take all the help you can get.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. For sure. Yeah. And I appreciate the help that I have received. And I will AdvocacyCon has been a game changer in the way that I advocate for Danielle.
Oh, good. I love that. I love that. Before we close out, is there anything else you want to say? Make sure that people know.
No, that's it. I appreciate you so much.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for coming on.